Welcome back to Comics with Drew. This is Drew, and it's time to talk about Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Well, more like Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, and this is something that I have been mulling about for quite some time, ever since I saw the last episode of the second season of The Mandalorian. And basically, it really just comes down to this. This is the Luke Skywalker that everyone who cares about Star Wars actually wanted. This is the Luke Skywalker that everybody that grew up watching the original Star Wars movies, this is what they actually wanted. They wanted Luke coming back and being himself. This is a person who has gone through a lot of struggle and a lot of hardship to finally arrive at a point where he is mature and where he thinks about other people more than what his desires personally are. And he is an example of what everyone should aspire to be. I saw The Last Jedi, and I've never actually done a rant video about The Last Jedi. So I'm just going to kind of go through that just a little bit. I hate The Last Jedi. I hate The Last Jedi more than I hate any other movie. As much as I can hate any kind of movie at all, period, I hate The Last Jedi. It killed something deep in my inner child. And I'm not going to say that it ruined my childhood or anything like that, because of course it can't do that. I'm not going to even give it that kind of power. The point of the matter is that when the first trailer came out for The Force Awakens and you saw the Millennium Falcon again, that really brought back a lot of emotion and a lot of excitement, a lot of joy for many, many people, including myself, because that's when I was a child. That's what I idolized. That's the kind of stuff that got me super excited. And I thought, wow, finally we've got a return to what made Star Wars sing. And so I was, I thought The Force Awakens was an okay movie. I thought it was a good enough movie. I obviously had very strong opinions about whether or not they were making the right decision with Han Solo, but I could reason that away, or I could justify that by the fact that Harrison Ford just didn't like Han Solo, and maybe he didn't want to continue on playing the character if he couldn't get that death scene that he was rumored to have wanted with Return of the Jedi. The second movie, though, here we're going to get Luke back. He's gonna come and he's going to save everybody. And honestly, that's what Star Wars is really about. Star Wars is about doing the right thing. It's about good defeating evil. It's not complicated. And when people try to turn things into something that critics would like rather than what fans would like, then you're missing the point of Star Wars. You've got it all entirely wrong. The Last Jedi, I saw it at midnight. It's the last Star Wars movie I saw at midnight. And I walked out of the theater, and I remember distinctly not being angry so much as not feeling anything. And that was a first. I had never walked out of a previous Star Wars film simply not feeling anything. And The Last Jedi was the first movie that actually did that to me. I was thinking about it, and did I miss something here? Is something going on here that somehow I was not really paying attention to? So I had already purchased tickets again for a repeat viewing of it, and my wife doesn't like to go out to midnight movies, but I was going to go out and see it again with her the next night at a more sane time, and so we went through and watched it. And I didn't say anything to her about it. I didn't try to persuade her one way or another. And she's also a big Star Wars fan as well. And so we got out of the movie, and she goes, "That sucked." And I was like, "You're right, it did." And I remember sitting through the film knowing every single thing that was going to happen no matter what as it developed through the film, and getting angrier and angrier and angrier as it went along, because it was just stomping all over the essence and spirit of what Star Wars is, and it's not that there couldn't have been a great story with Star Wars. It's not that there couldn't have been things done with the character that were new. It's just that basically what Johnson did was he turned around and tried to deconstruct Star Wars and basically tell everybody that they were stupid or immature or not sophisticated for not appreciating, possible realistic take on what Luke Skywalker might turn into. And it just infuriated me. And so if you talk to people I know, you will know that I can go on for hours and hours about how I cannot stand that movie. Still makes me angry. So, that being the background for all of this, I've been enjoying The Mandalorian. I enjoyed The Mandalorian when it first came out. I thought it was really good. It got back to the idea and the spirit of what Star Wars is really about, which is kind of like, it's basically a space western about people making the right decision, doing the right thing, and it doesn't have to be Game of Thrones for me. It doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings for me. It doesn't even have to be the original Star Wars trilogy for me. It just has to have the feel of Star Wars and the sensibility of Star Wars, and has to be devoid of heavy-handed messaging, okay? Star Wars does not need heavy-handed messaging, especially messaging that is topical. It needs to be timeless. As some people would say, it needs to be evergreen, so that you can watch it at any time and it will be relevant to your viewing sensibilities no matter what's going on and no matter what year you're watching it. That's why I've liked The Mandalorian. So the second season, it's not as good from my perspective, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just I wasn't really feeling it. But when we get to the last episode, and Luke shows up, first of all, you got the X-Wing come in. I'm thinking, okay, well, an X-Wing's nice. That's good. And then I was like, well, here's Grogu getting excited. And so obviously this is a Force user. And then you see the hooded figure. And I'm thinking, this can't be. They're not going to do this, are they? They're not. Don't do this to me. You keep seeing the scene progressing. Luke is easily dispatching all of these dark troopers that, you saw were incredibly powerful when Mandalorian tried to fight one. And then he's using all these force moves, and then you see the gloved hand, and then you see the green saber, and I'm like, no, I still refuse to believe it. And finally, the reveal comes in. He walks through that door, and boom, off comes the hood, and it's Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. And I just about lost it. I didn't cry. I celebrated like it was a touchdown. It was like the game-winning touchdown of the national championship game of your college football team. I was so pumped and so excited, and it was validation and vindication of what I have been saying and what millions of others have been saying, that Star Wars is about your heroes being your heroes, your badasses being your badasses, and letting them be that. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You don't need to make it something that's relevant to people who don't care. You don't need to make Star Wars for people that don't like Star Wars. And this is an ongoing issue in entertainment these days, where they try to take a property and they try to make it something that doesn't appeal to people that actually enjoy the property. And that's what's going on with Star Wars, is that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to give things to people that don't really want them. When you're making stuff like, the High Republic, you're trying to appeal to a demographic that does not like Star Wars, does not care about Star Wars, does not read comic books, and they certainly don't read comic books about Star Wars. And you're trying in vain to give something to someone that you want to sell to, but they don't want to buy what you're selling. So that's what they've been trying to do with Star Wars for so long. Along comes Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they understand Star Wars, and they start making Star Wars for Star Wars fans. And that's really what this is all about. Mark Hamill's been up on Twitter talking about the fact that he's super happy to have been able to do this character and to come back and work with the character when the character was a beacon of hope. And that's correct. That's what this character is. I'm not a big fan of Mark Hamill's other tweets that he gets into and some of the things that he talks about, but when he's talking about Luke Skywalker, he understands Luke Skywalker, and that's what I understand Luke Skywalker to be. So I'm very happy that he's back, and I hope to see more of him. I don't know if they're going to be able to, do an entire series with him, with the whole deepfake CGI stuff or whatnot, but I will tell you that I will watch it anyway. I will watch it even if it's got bad deepfakes on it. I don't care. My wife was talking about the fact, well, his mouth doesn't really move. And I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. All that matters is that the character that I love is there. The character that is doing what that character is supposed to do is there. And all is right in the world. And it's been a pretty dark past couple of months for me for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to really get into. But seeing that right there, really brought back a lot of joy and happiness into my life that I had been missing for a long time. And I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to break down about it. I'm not going to do a reaction video to it. But I'm just going to tell you that that's what, people need in their lives. You don't always need to have grimdark everywhere. You don't need to always have, people say, well, you're wrong because such and such could have been like this, or that's a childish, or that's just a silly, immature perspective of the world. You don't need that, and I don't need that. And some people just need to have things work out for them. Some people need. It's like in The Dark Knight, where they're at the end of the movie and Batman's talking with Gordon, and he said, sometimes people need to have their faith rewarded, and that's true. That's something that a lot of people seem to not recognize. There are too many people out there that just want to tear things down. They just want to burn things down, and I don't know if it's that they're unhappy with their lives, or that things just don't go the way that they want them to go, or they're just unhappy with something in general. I don't know, I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is that people need a break from bad things. Okay, you can't just always be in this constant vicious cycle of bad things and bad thoughts. People need a break from that. People need a respite from that, just like you take a break from literally everything else in your life. That's just how we are. That's how we are wired. You can't just continue doing the same thing over and over and over again. And there's nothing wrong with getting a little bit of a different perspective. There's nothing wrong with having, a scoop of ice cream from time to time. There's nothing wrong with, going to see a movie. There's nothing wrong with sharing jokes with each other. There's nothing wrong with trying to bring a little lighthearted mentality to the proceedings. So that's why it's good that Luke Skywalker is back. That's why it's good that, according to all the different various rumor sites, they're going to be doing some more stuff with Luke Skywalker. And that's why it's good that they may even retcon the entire sequel trilogy, because that's what I think we need. It's been a really, really tough year. It's been a really crappy year. And there's a lot of anger out there from a lot of people for a variety of reasons. And maybe our entertainment should stop being about how we can, impress our art school critics or our film school critics or our buddies that just want to hate on everything. Maybe we need something that rewards our faith in what should be. And that's why I'm happy about the return of Luke Skywalker. So I'm very excited about The Mandalorian going forward. This is a channel about comics, but sometimes we talk about Star Wars and sometimes we talk about things that I like. Just like you need a break from all the depressing news out there, sometimes you need a break from all the comic news out there. So again, thanks for watching. This is Comics with Drew, and I am Drew, and I will see you next time.